Some cases are difficult to solve. Others are difficult to understand. But this case, it wasn't ignored because it was complex. It wasn't ignored because there was no evidence. It was ignored, even when the evidence was right there. And for years, no one asked why. In 2001, in a quiet town called Westbridge, lived 34-year-old Samuel Carter. Samuel worked as a maintenance technician for a local office complex. He was known as reliable, consistent, the kind of person who followed routines without exception. Every morning, he left his house at 7:10 a.m. Every evening, he returned home just before 6. No variations, no surprises. Until September 9th. On that day, Samuel never returned home. At first, no one noticed, because there was no immediate sign that anything was wrong. His car wasn't missing. His house wasn't disturbed. Everything looked normal. It wasn't until 3 days later, when his employer reported his absence, that the case began. Police entered Samuel's home, and what they found was confusing. Nothing was out of place. No forced entry, no struggle. But there were small details that didn't sit right. His watch was on the table. His wallet still in the drawer. But his phone was gone. At first, authorities treated it as a voluntary disappearance. There was no evidence suggesting otherwise. But then, something surfaced. Samuel had made a report just days before he vanished. A report that was never followed up. According to records, Samuel had contacted local authorities about something unusual at his workplace. He claimed that access logs were changing on their own. Entries appeared and disappeared. Times didn't match. People were recorded entering who never showed up. The report was dismissed, marked as a technical error, filed away, ignored. But after Samuel disappeared, investigators revisited it, and what they found was disturbing. There were entries logged under Samuel's name after he was already missing. At first, it seemed like a system glitch, but the timestamps were precise, consistent, and repeated. According to the system, Samuel returned to work multiple times. After he disappeared, theories began to surface. Some believed someone was manipulating the system, covering something up. Others suggested something more unsettling. That Samuel discovered something and tried to report it, but was never taken seriously. The case was never solved. No suspects, no confirmed sightings, and no explanation for the logs. But when you look back at the report Samuel made, you start to realize something. This case wasn't ignored because it lacked evidence. It was ignored because the evidence didn't make sense. And sometimes, that's enough for people to stop looking.